Welcome, Rotarians and guests, to meeting 5,466 of the Rotary meeting of San Jose. Alrighty. Love it. I love applause for doing absolutely nothing. Thank you so very much, so very much. We are missing our piano man today. He is ill. I don't have a replacement, so we're a little bit, but we are starting on time. So welcome, Rotarians and guests. Today you were greeted by the Enterprise Leadership Conference. What a great, yeah. I think we've got about 90 folks signed up to attend as participants and probably another 50 more as volunteers. One of our biggest signature projects of the year for youth leadership development. So proud of you guys. Thank you so much. All right, visiting Rotarians and Rotarians with guests, please stand up so we can get a mic to you. And today, our Red Badgers on mic. I know I've got a little bit of a slight change here. We have Irene and Kimberly today. Please introduce yourselves.
You go. I'm Irene.
Hi, Irene.
And I work for NASA Aeronautics with the small drones.
Hold it a little bit closer so we can hear all about you. Hold your microphone a little closer.
Okay, I'm a software engineer for NASA and working with the small drones to flying at night.
Thank you so much. Hi, Kimberly.
Hi, I'm Kimberly Mulcahy. Whoa. And I am a proud member of the ROD Squad. I think I'm supposed to announce that. I'm a Red Badger, and I'm really happy to be here. And I'm doing some community volunteer work and working with Julie Stover, who is a guest today with Art House Studio, and then Diane Brandenburg on a really exciting peace project that we have coming to San Jose.
Fantastic. Oh, wow, we've really got some good stuff. I'm still going here. Thank you so much. All right. Hi, Julie Stover. I'm glad you're attending. Next, Pam Foley. Who you got today?
Well, I was going to introduce Julie Stover, who I've known since our kids went to Hacienda Kindergarten together so many years ago, and now our kids are grown and gone and fully launched. So I'm really excited to run into you again, Julie, and hope we see you around. It's great. Thank you. And I'd also like to introduce two of my staff members. You've met Scott Hughes before, he's my chief of staff, and you've also met Kyle Lavaroni, my deputy chief of staff. They're both here to listen to Carl.
Fantastic, great to have you guys back in the room. Thank you for all your good work you do for the city of San Jose. All righty, hi.
Hey, Madam President. Today I brought my ball and chain. Chris Kenward, my spouse.
Your better half.
My better half. He is not a member, but I work on him daily. And he's attending because he wanted to hear Salas speak. Carl's a draw.
He sure is. Thank you. Well, welcome, Chris. We're glad you're here, and we look forward to seeing you apply. All right. I think we've got Nick next. No? Who do I have next? Yes. Hi.
Hi. Hello. I've got my guest here, my friend Matthew Covedo, who's he's the deputy chief of staff to Mayor Matt Mahan, and he's currently on leave because he's a candidate for City Council District 3.
Welcome. Okay, who do I have? Oh.
Yeah, hi. It's on? Okay. John Walker from Los Gatos Rotary, here with ELC.
Great to see Los Gatos in the house. Welcome. Los Gatos partners with us on ELC, for those that don't know. Hi, Jennifer.
Hello, President Heather. How are you?
I am so partial to your guest today. Please tell.
Okay. I am pleased to have as my guest Beyond the Box Design Collective's newest employee, Tori.
Yay! That almost sounds like a ring the bell. We'll get you in February. Marianne, former First Fabulous Lady.
President Heather, I'm Marianne Salas, honorary Rotarian. Thank you, Steve Borkenhagen. While we're on the subject of spouses, this is every spouse's dream. Today, I will not only be finishing Carl's sentences, but also speaking for him. He's just getting over a cold. He's going to speak, but I'm going to introduce our guests, starting with our good friend Bill Souders, who has been a neighbor, a friend, and a business partner for 40-ish years, and the husband of my best friend Sally Souders. And my other guest, our other guest, is Richard Zahner, who Carl and I met about 30 years ago at a dinner in San Francisco for the Power Association of Northern California. Richard is renowned also for his offspring and his famous wife, Barbara Zahner, who is a bigwig, or was retired, in the spiritual and development world. Sacred Heart Community Services. Okay, thank you. Do I have to pay for that long speech?
No, not
Okay.
yet. Not yet. The invoice will come. I also want to give a shout out. At your table is Rotary's first son, royalty, and Prince of Dalziel, Noah Lerner. Jim Tower, you've got some pretty special youth too. What's going on?
Hello, President Heather. I have the honor today of introducing one of our representatives to the Youth Exchange Program. This is Fabiola. She came here from Valencia, Spain. She arrived last August, and she's been attending Mount Pleasant High School, where she is a cheerleader and enjoying herself. And I'm also pleased to introduce Stacy, who is the host mom for the Youth Exchange Program. Thank you very much.
Welcome back, Fabiola. I think oh, hello.
Hi, I'm Mike Eggleston. I'm with Los Gatos Morning Rotary, and I'm here for ELC.
Great to see you, Mike. Thanks for joining us. John Ball.
Hi, President Heather. I have two guests here with me today. First, the Grand Poobah of KT Urban and a very close friend of mine, Mark Tersini.
Hey, Mark. Great to see you in the house.
Secondly, I have Daniel Nuncio here, who's standing in for Jay Bradshaw, the head of the Northern 46 Carpenters organization that covers all carpenter work in Northern California. And he's head of jurisdiction tracking projects that are energy related, which is why he's here today.
Very nice. Great guest.
I also want to welcome back Gary Dillabo, who's at our table, who is recently reactivated.
Great to see you, Gary. Okay, I think I've got Leslie. Hi, Leslie.
Hi, Leslie Guardino, part of the ROD Squad, who's my sponsor. I am here to introduce my colleague and business partner, Jennifer Johnson, who is in town from Texas, welcoming the newest vice president at our firm, Deb Davis.
Thank you.
Right
Hi,
here.
Norm.
Hello, President Heather. Norm Holberg, Real Estate Appraising. My guest is Andy Hunspet, my relative, originally from Norway a very, very long time ago, then ended up here with a master's in mechanical engineering from Cal and a PhD in civil engineering from Stanford, 30 years with GE Nuclear, here to fact check Carl Salas.
Sounds great. We have an honorable club here. Okay, we're going to speed it up just a bit. I know I've got Sarju in the back. He'll be joining me in just a moment.
Thanks, President Heather. Sarju Naran, and my sponsor is Jean Serpa. Today I have two guests. The first one is Ginger Pajeska. She's a senior wealth manager with Mariner, and she's the past president of her former home club in Texas, outside of Austin. And she's looking for a new home club.
Welcome.
All right. And then next to her is Claudia Cruz, who is a systems administrator with the Los Gatos Unified School District. She's a lifelong native of San Jose, and she's here with her partner, Ginger.
Go San Jose. Thank you. Okay, for our next few, we've got to save some time here. Just please state their name and title. Nicholas Adams.
Good afternoon, Madam President. Nicholas Adams, Classification Public Relations. My guest today is the President CEO of the Boys and Girls Clubs of Silicon Valley. My dear friend, please welcome Mr. Steve Weimer.
Woo! My dear friend as well. Great to see you. Hi, Steve.
Oh, I'm up next. Okay, thank you, President Heather. My guest today is a longtime friend and former customer of mine, Jim DeBona, with Tech Labels and Printing.
Hello, Jim. Great to see you after so many years. All right, I think, am I all clear? No, one more. Hi.
Hi, Sue Smith, and my guest today is Jill Podolsky. She's a executive coach, trainer for the High Tech 2 nonprofit.
Welcome. Glad to have you. All right, Sarju, start making your way up. Am I all clear yet? All right. Come on up, Sarju, please. We've got thank you, all you wonderful guests. And Carl, you are a draw. We're so excited for your presentation. Thanks for joining us today for lunch, everybody. Sarju's got a membership update for us. Yep. We're going to handheld today. Welcome.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Sarju Naran once again. Do we have the slides up here? Oh, there. Nope, not up on the screen. All right. Awesome. Okay, so Happy New Year, everyone. It's really great to see so many people in the room. And we're pretty much a full house, and we want to keep that going. We really do look to all of our membership to help us with recruitment. For a city our size, our goal of 500 members is very attainable, and it's what we should have, being the big metropolitan city that we are in San Jose. We're doing really well so far, but we got to keep the momentum going. So far, since July, we've added 34 new members, plus we've reinstated 4 former members. So that's folks that have been with the club in the last 3 years and their membership lapsed for whatever reason, that we'd be able to bring them back. Unfortunately, due to natural attrition, we have lost a handful of members as well, as you can see up on the slide. We're going to make up that difference in spades, and we're really counting on all of you to help us get there. I want to recognize our sponsors for this year. You can see if your name isn't on here, raise your hand, if your name is on here. There's 30 of you. These are the folks that have recruited at least one member this year. We have the folks that are at the top of the leaderboard first, and you'll see that Mr. Diradon is getting a little worried. And I think we need to keep him on his heels. Don't you agree? So, keep them coming, please. Get them in the pipeline. We're looking for great new members, folks that have a Rotary spirit. But yeah, we've got some folks that are really knocking out of the park this year, and we're hoping that we can continue that. The folks in yellow are the ones who brought in a new member this past month, I should say December and January. Okay, so just as a reminder, our membership process is that you bring a guest twice. They've got to visit this club at least twice. The application is available literally everywhere. It's at the bottom of the bulletin every week. It's out here at the table. It's on the website. You can email me. Submit the application, please, before the first Wednesday of the month so that we have adequate time to vet the references before the membership committee meets on the second Tuesday of the month. Then it goes to the board on the third Tuesday. And then, everything goes well, they're in. Initiation fee for new members is $500 plus the $950 annual plus the $400 contribution for the foundation. For folks that are reinstating in less than 3 years, the $500 initiation is waived, and it's only a $100 reinstatement fee, so that's great. And of course, once we bring in our members, we want to keep our members, right? Programming has been, David, you've been doing an amazing job this year with our speaker lineup, but there's lots of ways that we need to make sure that people stay engaged with our committees, doing the great work that we do. So make sure that if you've brought in folks, stay in touch with with the members that you've brought in, and make sure that they're engaged and feeling the love and getting what they need and out of Rotary, and that we're giving back. Okay, as I like to do, please bring out your phones. It's time to text. That's Top Gun up there. Let's do this. No time like the present, okay? We all know folks that we think should be in this room, but they're not presently. So put your thinking caps on. Here's a few prompts, right? Who's the new business owner in San Jose? Which friends aren't members but should be? What industry sector is missing or are we light on? Are there business community leaders that you don't see in the room? And who can you respectfully disagree with on political issues? We want diversity of perspective, we really do. So, just as a suggestion, you can write whatever you want, but think of somebody and text them right now. I'm at a Rotary meeting, realize you should really be in this club. Can you join me next Wednesday? Come up with your own language. I'm going to give you a few seconds here. Let's see those fingers working. Okay. Thank you all. I appreciate the time.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I played along as well. I love your leadership style, Sarge. You just break down that elephant one bit at a time. Come on up, President-elect Matt Breaker.
Hello, Rotarians. All right, well, who's ready for some Rotary fun? I hope, all right, good to see some hands. All right, this year the Rotary International Convention is being held in Calgary, Canada, June 21 to June 25. And I thought it would be terrific and a lot of fun if we could get a huge contingent from our club to attend the convention together. So, let me talk about that for a second. Picture this. There you are. It is a beautiful day in Calgary, Canada. You are strolling across the iconic Peace Bridge, that is a pedestrian bridge leading into downtown Calgary, with your fellow Rotarians. We are all decked out in our custom-made Rotary swag that's going to be designed by President Heather and myself, much like the ELC stuff that people are wearing today. We're going to then head down into Stephen Andrews, a little area of Calgary. We'll enjoy some great food together, some refreshing libations, engage in some endless chatter about Rotary, about each other, about Calgary, having a great time, and we're going to be mingling with Rotarians from literally every corner of the globe. They are expecting this year 20,000 Rotarians from more than 100 countries to be at this convention. It really is going to be a unique and incredible opportunity to exchange ideas, build friendships, and experience and feel the power and spirit of Rotary. In fact, I got to tell you, one of the things I'm most excited about, having not been there before, is the House of Friendship, where I'm told that they overtake the entire base floor of the convention center and they showcase Rotary projects from all over the world. I'm told it's incredibly inspiring and just a great reminder of the global impact of Rotary. And here's the best thing about this I got to tell you about today. We already have 14 Rotarians from our club signed up to go. I'm going. President Heather's going, Audrey Fox is going, Karen Sinu-Towery, Jim Towery, Terry Chapman, and Sue Smith. There's about 14 people. We're going to have a great time. We're going to have fun. But you know what would be even more fun? If you came too. So please, here's what you got to do. You go online to convention.rotary.org, register for the convention. They're going to links to the hotels, tell you about some of the events and educational, just pure social things they have. But I hope you'll join us. Join us for the experience, join us for the camaraderie, join us for the inspiration. And if you do, please shoot me an email so I can include you on any planning we have for some group activities. It's going to be a lot of fun. Hope to see you there.
Fantastic. Very glad to see you. If Mary Rubin and Ann Chesson can make your way up to the stage, we have a special presentation from them. The contingent in Singapore was me and Jay. So the idea that there's 14 of us and counting is spectacular. And Jay and I always are matching clothes, so that wasn't. Today's special guests are from the Dancing Cat. You know, I've selected them as one of our special beneficiary recipients of a gift. Each time one of our speakers comes up, we make a gift in their name. Take it away. I'm going to have to do the microphone because this one isn't working. This is Mary.
Great. Hi, everybody. We're going to start out by taking a little poll. So, how many of you people love animals? I heard a few claps. How many are dog people? How many are cat people? Oh, I heard some hissing. Come on. Were you the same people that raised your hand for loving animals? How many of you know the dancing cat? Oh, a smattering. Well, we're going to tell you about them. We're going to tell you about us.
I can't read that. Oops. So, who are we? The Dancing Cat is a nonprofit cat rescue and cat adoption lounge. We're like a cat cafe, and we're located in downtown San Jose, not very far from here. We were founded in 2015, so we're going to be celebrating our 10th anniversary this year, and we're very excited about that. We have 2 full-time and 4 part-time employees. We're very small, but we have about 200 volunteers, and we're very grateful for our volunteers. We couldn't do what we do without them. And so far, in the nearly 10 years we've been in business, we have found homes for over 1,700 cats and kittens.
So, where are our hearts? So our mission is to rescue, rehabilitate, and find homes for wonderful cats. Our primary rescue partner is a San Jose shelter. So what we do is we find the adult cats in the shelter, we pull them, they go into foster for a couple of weeks. There we get to know them in a cage-free environment, of course. And these are adult cats who, at the shelter, are most often overlooked, they're shut down, they're traumatized from whatever brought them there. So, yeah, what else? So we're very focused on not just the kittens, but the senior cats, special needs cats, and we are not focused on volume. So whereas the shelter is really a safety net for homeless animals with nowhere else to go, what we do is we focus on the right match. So we get to know the cat through, their foster, and if they're resilient and they're social, they may get an opportunity to come into the lounge. And yeah, we get to know the adopters through a parallel process, and we're making matches. So think Tinder for cats.
So as I mentioned, we run a cat adoption lounge, similar to Cat Cafe, if you're familiar with that concept. People can come in, they spend an hour, get to know the cats. We're a community space, so we want to, for people to share stories about their cats with other guests. People come together to talk about cats. What we say is dog lovers can take their dogs to a dog park and meet other dog lovers. Cat lovers have our space where they can meet other cat lovers and enjoy the company of cats. We also present a number of public events. We have embroidery, watercolor workshops, magic shows, music events, meditation, a lot of different events that we offer to the public. We're a space for private events as well, birthday parties. We have had corporate offsites and proposals filmed at the wedding proposals filmed at the Dancing Cat, and one high school prom invitation as well. So we offer our space to the community.
We are also, just the last point, a place where people can come and learn about cats, of course. Uh-oh, what's going on here? Thank you. So what do all these photographs have in common? They're all about connection. So we provide a place for people to meet and mingle, not just with cats, but with other people. It's a place of belonging. We are a resource for cat caregivers who need advice, who may need to access funds. So these are people who are perhaps trying to keep the cat in their house, but are struggling for some reason, or they found a stray cat and the shelter won't intake them. How many calls do you get a week?
Probably about 40 calls from people who are looking for help with their cats, every once in a while a dog.
So because we're a physical place, people turn to us as a resource. And to that, we train people, we partner with other community group in the city to offer TNR, trap, neuter, and release workshops for the community cats, the stray cats who probably are in your backyard.
So what are our greatest challenges? Well, as I'm sure you can imagine, as a nonprofit, fundraising is a significant challenge for us, especially during the election season, which took a lot of the air out of the nonprofit fundraising world. Also, lack of affordable veterinary care. This is a nationwide issue, and we see this here very much in San Jose. And the overall volume of unfixed cats and kittens being born on the streets every day, having additional kittens, it's overwhelming here in San Jose.
So just in conclusion, we are about connection and resilience. So at a time, I think we all know it, where our traditional safety nets are failing us and not reliable, it's really about community connection and knowing your neighbors, being committed to your community. That's where we can grow resilience, and that's what we do with the Dancing Cat. So whether you like cats or know somebody who likes cats or love cats, I mean, just please come visit us.
Just one last, first of all, thank you so much, Heather, for inviting us. And I wanted to mention that my connection to Rotary goes back about 40 years. I was a Rotary Fellow. I had a scholarship to study graduate school in France for a year. So thank you, and I'm a big fan of Rotary, so thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Wonderful. John Ball, come on up. We're going to blast on through and save that for another time. All righty, John Ball.
Hi, everybody. I hope we have enough time left for Carl's presentation after that. I heard Carl had a sore throat, so this is cough syrup for Carl. I hope he's here. Mary Ann, this would be a good time for him to make his appearance because I'm going to be very brief. Oh, he's here. Good. This unscrews like a normal hip flask. Okay, so Carl goes back to nuclear energy back to 1974, which beats me by about 3 years when I started my first job in construction, working on a couple different nuclear power plant construction sites. So you may think you know Carl Salas because of those god-awful jackets he wears to our galas, but he's able to afford those because of his work that he does in the energy field. And to this day, even though I hear he's mostly retired, he does a lot of consulting on energy projects, including nuclear, but also solar and wind, to my knowledge. So I promised that I would be very brief. So I want you to just think about, how does Carl sign his emails? Very good. Energetically yours. Well, we always thought that was about his personal energy, but he knows a lot about energy. And so now when you see energetically yours, think of this presentation, and please welcome Carl Salas.
I think I may, John. Thank you. So, yeah, Heather, it's a good turnout. But I suspect that about half the people here came to throw rotten tomatoes at me because it is about nuclear. And I know you have your biases, so we put some tomatoes on the table for you. There we go. Because I'm guessing a lot of you know about, how many of you know about 3 Mile Island? How many of you are going to throw rotten tomatoes because of that? Yeah, only one, good. Hey, I just want to give a little bit more background on what John has told you, because I'm not really here to talk you into or out of nuclear energy. I'm here to tell you where the industry has been relative to nuclear power, where we are now relative to nuclear power, and I'm talking last Sunday. The incredible legacy that San Jose has relative to nuclear power. You can't imagine how much fun I had researching this. I found out things I didn't know, and I started in the nuclear industry here in San Jose. And then I'm going to give you some metrics so you can figure out on your own whether or not it's worth taking the risks that we have to take with everything we do. So I'm going to go on with the show. Oh, I do want to tell you, I don't know if you know this, but Salas O'Brien, we started here in San Jose in 1979. I met Dan O'Brien. And we have been doing just the energy consulting, energy and infrastructure consulting for, what, 46 years. And we now have 3,800 employees all over the US and Canada. And if you want to know how that happened, you can have Mary Ann give a talk on that, because she was by my side. She was our CFO during the formative years and the transition years. And it's been quite a ride. Okay, let's go on with the show. Oops, I went the wrong way. Can you guys move this forward for me? It's not moving. Yeah, energy problems. Here we go. I'm clicking the right arrow as fast as I can. Thank you, Heather. Well, I'll stand over here then, too. I'd rather stand. No, I didn't see that. Let's see, I can picture the first slide. Okay, 3 Mile Island. That was 1979. You know what happened in October of this year? Microsoft signed an agreement, it's called a power purchase agreement, with Constellation Energy to restart 3 Mile Island. They signed a 30-year contract to restart 3 Mile Island. What? Wait a minute, that was the worst nuclear accident ever. How are you going to restart a plant? Well, that's what's going on now. And I'm going to take it a step further because also in October of this year, well, this past year, 3 months ago, Google signed a contract with a little company called Keros Energy to buy 500 megawatts of nuclear power. They're making small modular reactors now. Oh. Okay, so this is, I'm not going to waste a lot of time here, but this is Microsoft signed with Constellation Energy. Constellation Energy is a publicly traded company, and this has been going on for a couple of years now. Why did it stop? Oh, there it goes. There it goes. So this has been going on for a couple of years now, and like I say, a lot of the tech companies want to be green, and they're signing these power purchase agreements. Something else that happened recently, you know who Oliver Stone was? He was a dope-smoking hippie when 3 Mile Island happened. I'm sure he was a protester. But also, he's got a movie out now. It's a documentary. It's a 90-minute documentary. And I wish I had 90 minutes because there's so much to talk about. But if you are at all interested, this is a fabulous documentary where he changed from no way to, And that's what I'm going to try and go into. Okay, so let's talk about San Jose's legacy, because it is fascinating. So, do you guys know where the plant is? Does anybody know where the plant is? So when I was researching this, I didn't even know this existed, but I found a picture of that same parking lot, in 1958. There it is. It's a little hard to tell, but so I had to kind of bring some stuff out. General Electric, Atomic Power Equipment Division. There were 800 engineers, admin, technicians here in San Jose, 800 in 1958. To give you a perspective, 1954 is when we first commissioned our first nuclear sub in the nuclear Navy. So GE was all over, and San Jose was all over the nuclear industry back in 58. 800 engineers here back then. It's pretty staggering. I want to show you that little tower there. That was a full-scale fuel rod test facility. We were making fuel rods here in San Jose in 1958. Unbelievable, unbelievable. This little video is about 6 minutes long. It's really fun to look at if you want to go back in history a little bit. So I'm going to jump you forward to 1974, still a long time ago. So I grew up in Maryland. I graduated from Virginia Tech. I majored in mechanical engineering, but I took a minor in nuclear engineering. And lo and behold, I'm graduating June of '74, and I got a job offer from San Jose's General Electric Atomic Energy Division here in San Jose. I'd never been to California, never heard of San Jose. Where the hell is that? And I took the job, and I have a photo of me. I worked 1 year in 1900 and 1850 South 10th Street. There were 2,000 engineers. I just thought that was normal. There were 2,000 engineers doing nuclear reactor design on 1850, 1900, and where the plant is now. And then after a year, I started traveling and doing startup testing. That set me at the Millstone Nuclear Power Plant in Millstone, Connecticut. It's not too far from Waterford. It's only about 15 miles from Waterford, Connecticut. And after that, I went out to Tokai, Japan, and spent time doing startup at the Tokai nuclear reactor. I ended up at the Pilgrim nuclear reactor in Plymouth, Massachusetts. So I had 4 years in the nuclear industry and working in GE reactors. So the thing I didn't know at the time, and this is 1974, I was in the nuclear industry for 4 years, and it turns out, I mean, I was just a kid out of college, right? It was the 4 most transformative years in the nuclear industry history. And let me show you about that. Okay, so I'm there in 74, and in 74, the mantra at GE was, we're going to have an all-electric economy by the year 2000. Have you heard that? Now we're going to have an all-electric economy by 2045. But what goes around comes around. That's what we're talking about now. Anyway, that was the mantra at GE. And so I got in 74. I don't know how many engineers they hired in GE that year, but let me show you what happened in 76. There were 3 engineers quit GE. There was the anti-nuclear thing had been percolating when I took the job, but it really blew up in 76 when these 3 GE nuclear engineers quit, and they went to anti-nuclear protest. I'm wondering if any of you know these people. They would be 93 and 87 now, based on their ages. I just found this article. I couldn't believe it was there. It's New York Times. Does anybody know any of these guys? I'd love to meet them. Anyway, so that's in February of 76. So guess what happens in March of 76? Did anybody hear in the movie The China Syndrome? Some of you guys and gals know it. There it is. I mean, this was a high-end Jane Fonda, Michael Douglas, Jack Lemmon production of, oh my gosh, we're all going to die. And so you can kind of picture that was really, we were teetering on the nuclear industry, which was just, 2,000 engineers here, reactors all over the world, and then we had 3 Mile Island. So that was pretty much the pivotal time for our nuclear industry. Now, GE was still around for a while, up till I think almost 2000, certainly 1995. And I checked, and I didn't know this, but at 1990, Little Orchard Road, there's still a GE Hitachi nuclear division. It's not 2,000 engineers. I think it's about 2. But just think if we still had 2,000 engineers here. It's amazing, isn't it? Just amazing. Anyway, so that's kind of where we've been, and what that really turned the nuclear industry. And there was not much recovery from that. So let's talk about now. So first of all, we've got an incredible thirst for electricity, incredible thirst for electricity. We can't get enough of it. And there's AI coming out. There's more crypto going to be getting really big. We're all switching to heat pumps, aren't we? I've got a heat pump at home. We need so much power that we can't get enough. So that's one thing we have to all admit, that we are having an insatiable quest and thirst for electricity, and that's not going to stop. So with that as background, let me make sure you know where your electricity comes from. And these are just the facts, ma'am. First of all, I wanted to show you, this is kind of cool. I pulled this a couple of years ago because it says in 2022, California's total electricity, well, 49% of California's electricity generation was from renewables. Pretty cool, right? I always like to show people the operative words in a statement. So do you know in 2022, we imported 29% of electricity from other states? Now, I checked, in 2023, we were only at 10%. But it's really important to understand, in politics, there's always spin. I'm telling you, gang, in renewables, in climate change, there's always spin. Don't forget that. And again, I've got a battery on my house. We're all solar. We've got heat pumps. But I'm real clear on how much electricity we need. So let me show you where electricity really comes from. So this is all the utilities are required every year to show what the mix of fuel is to generate the electricity you have. Okay? So this is the actual numbers from 2023 in California. And I'll show you my source in a second. It's not only reliable, it's actually exact. But what I want to show you is, wait a minute. California uses 3% of their electricity from coal? Yeah, we import power. Where do we import it from? Arizona, Nevada. What do they have in Arizona and Nevada? Coal power plants. So I know we want to be green. We are greener than most people. But don't be telling everybody that we're perfectly green. We've got a long way to go. Natural gas is 46%. You add those two up, and that's 50% of our power is from natural gas and coal. Then we've got nuke at 8.4%. And I want to tell you, there's something called the EPA Power Profiler. You just type in your zip code and it gives you the fuel split. It's really, really, really valuable. Because, again, what I want to make sure you know is coming out of the outlet right here, the electrons, I know you signed a contract in Albuquerque for a solar power from a solar system in Albuquerque on your CCA, but the neutrons coming out of here, the electrons coming out of here, are from the local grid, and the local grid has that mix. So, where do I want to take you from here? Well, let me show you. So, when you're driving up 101, you see have you all seen the Metcalf plant? You know it's all there, we all see it. That's 600 megawatts. Thank you. Yeah, Richard, thank you. Thank you for that plant. It's a Calpine plant. Well, it was a Calpine plant. Did you see what happened? And I want to show you Diablo Canyon. It's about 4 times the size, and it's down in San Luis Obispo. I do want to make sure you understand the difference between these two plants. A nuclear power plant doesn't have a smokestack. All the other power plants have smokestacks, and that's where 50% of our power is coming from. Let me show you what those numbers are. So you know that we were going to shut down Diablo Canyon, our last nuclear power plant, about 8 years ago. And since then, we've got an extension, and we're looking to extend it for 20 years. And I want to show you why that is, because it's important you understand the numbers. So you saw that we have coal, natural gas, and nuclear power plants. I'm going to compare where that power comes from and what the fuel required is for that. So I'm doing 1,000 megawatts per day. Don't get too confused. It's just 1,000 megawatts runs about 700 houses, and we run a power plant, 1,000 megawatt power plant all day. That's 1,000 megawatts per day. So 1 day of power for 700 houses. How much fuel do you think that uses? How much coal do you think that uses? 5.7 million pounds. So it's hard to picture all that stuff, but let me help you. These are hopper cars. You have to fill 30 of these hopper cars, these coal hopper cars, a day, and drive them to the power plant, unload the coal, and burn the coal, and make the steam, and make the power. And that gives you that 1,000 megawatts per day, 700 houses. Okay? Now, luckily, most of our plants are natural gas. Oh, excuse me, that's 19 billion pounds of greenhouse gas. 19 billion pounds of greenhouse gas. Okay, so let's go to our natural gas plants, because that's most of what we have. For that same 1,000 megawatts per day, it's about 80 million cubic feet. And that's why you'll oftentimes see these, and that's 9 billion pounds of greenhouse gas. So that's why you oftentimes will see these things, clean energy. Natural gas is clean energy. Well, it's a lot cleaner than coal, right? And that's why you see that. But what I want to make sure you understand is, so we all use these, 7 cubic feet at our grills. 1.2 million of those a day. Quick, go to the hardware store, get me 1.2 million of those to make that 1,000 megawatts per day. Just to give you that sense. I also want to make sure you understand that, so I designed these things, right? So we have thresholds we designed to, 10 parts per million of NOx. So we just designed these things so they don't exceed 10 parts per million of NOx. But below 10 parts per million of NOx, it's out the stack, right? We don't see it, it's just out the stack. And so when you look at, just in the US, these are EPA estimates, there's millions of pounds of NOx, SOx, and particulate matter going out of these plants. We don't see it because it's below the threshold. Us engineers, okay, we got it. Now let me show you nuclear. It's 8 pounds of fuel. It's this big for 1,000 megawatts per day. It's not 30 coal cars. It's not 1.2 million propane tanks. It's 8 pounds. So let me see. How much greenhouse gas? Oh, there's 0 greenhouse gas. How much NOx, SOx, particulates? 0. That's it. And that's why Microsoft and that's why Google is saying, you know what? We want to be green. We're signing those contracts in Albuquerque and wherever we can in California for solar farms. But we got a lot of power demands, and we're going to start looking at this side of things too. And again, I'm not trying to talk you into it because everything is a risk. And I know you're going to ask me about the fuel, and I'm not sure, Heather, how our time is. Oh, so let me keep going. But anyway, so you can see that that's why it's going that direction, gang. And I'm not convinced. And this is old technology. In fact, I just wanted to remind you about the stacks. You see in the 3 Mile Island picture, it's just, that's water vapor coming off. That's just water vapor. Those are cooling towers. But, you know, in any other power plant, you've got those stacks. And those are those 1 million pounds of below threshold emissions. So the other thing, we have 54 nuclear reactors in the US right now, but we also have almost 100 nuclear submarines and ships that have been running since 1954 without any accidents. And again, I'm not trying to talk you into it, I'm just giving you the numbers. That's all I'm trying to do is give you the numbers. And I don't know, I don't see the time, but oh, it's only 1 o'clock? Oh, and then we still have time for Q&A? Oh, that's great, because I know you have a lot of questions. I did it. Okay, so we have all these nuclear subs, and there's so many reasons why we have a nuclear navy. It's much more than you think, but we have the greenest navy. And by the way, have any of you ever been to Paris? You know, they're 70% nuclear. 70%. When you're in Paris, you say, oh my gosh, better hurry out of here. When you're in Las Vegas, are you saying, oh my God, there's a coal plant not that far away? I've got the threshold particulate matter is, I don't know how many parts per million. You don't, right? So think about it, that's all. And I'm going to close by, you know, I'm putting this together, and I had a ball. I don't know if you can tell, but I had a ball putting this together. So Sunday's paper, I was tweaking this thing. Look what was in Sunday's Wall Street Journal. That's Constellation Energy, the ones who just signed the contract with Microsoft. It's one of the hottest stocks. There are scores of nuclear startups right now doing small modular reactors. A lot of the utilities are looking into nuclear. And again, I got a battery. I got solar. I love that stuff. It really works. We have an unquenchable thirst for electricity. And I think nuclear is going to be a part of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Carl. Look at those. Oh, all righty. Awesome. Let's just do that. Okay, great. Time for some Q&A. We've got Kimberly already. Yes. I mean, or Sean. Sean, go for it.
Hi, Sean Cottle. Carl, fantastic presentation. I was back in New Jersey in 1979.
Oh, boy.
So fast forward 46 years. How are they cleaning up 3 Mile Island to make it bring it back online?
I can only answer that by one thing, and I saw it when I was doing my research, right? Do you know what happened right after 3 Mile Island? The smart money said buy real estate. The housing prices went way down, and then they went way back up. That's all I can tell you. When you say cleaning up, it was a discharge of some radioactive. Richard, exactly how much was there? There wasn't much, right? Did it get outside the plant? I think it did. Yeah, it was pretty small. And again, I could research how it was cleaned up, but it was cleaned up.
Wait, let's get you a mic. Let's get you a mic. Wait, actually, can we save that? Okay, thank you, because the people on Zoom don't pick up unless it's on mic. Next question, please.
Thanks, Carl. I love your presentation. One sort of comment and then a question. I actually was at Georgia Tech in 1974, and some of my alumni from my fraternity had me out there doing data entry of all the nuclear plants in America in 1974. So that's a memory for me. My question is, I've been having conversations with our Jimmy Panetta for over a year, trying to ask him, how do we get the people in Washington, D.C., in Congress, to bring this topic up and discuss it? And I have this crazy idea that in order to get around NEPA, why don't we put them on Indian reservations and military bases, because they wouldn't be subject to NEPA and we could build these things quickly.
I'm speechless. That's a great idea, huh? I have no comment because you didn't ask a question, but I'm speechless.
Ed's got a question, and if you'd like to ask a question, go ahead and stand so our mic can find you.
Carl,
Ed.
do you glow at night?
You can ask Mary Ann. She would not say it.
The real question. I loved your analysis there, the 30 cars of coal versus 8 pounds of fuel. What's the cost difference for buying that 30 cars of coal versus the 8 pounds of plutonium, I believe?
Yeah. What's the cost differential? Of course,
to acquire the material, the fuel.
Oh, I can't answer that.
Oh, okay.
But I will tell you that, you know, my whole life I've been in the energy business, right? And every time something new comes up, let's switch to artificial turf. Well, artificial turf actually uses more water than real turf. When solar panels, oh my gosh, solar panels, it takes more energy to build a solar panel than ever comes out. Batteries, oh my gosh, batteries take more energy to make than they actually save. So those answers are really complicated, and I can't answer. But the supply chain for all these different systems is a fascinating study in itself.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. We've got Roger on Mr. Climate.
Oh, don't you be oh-ohing me because I'm not here to oh-oh you. I'm here to eulogize you.
He's not dead.
I'm just a little hoarse. Yeah.
If we could clone you, we would be able to save the world. As you know, I'm a radical environmentalist and happy to be so. And I've always opposed nuclear energy as hard as I could, but I don't anymore. And part of it is because of you. And it's the way you communicate the new nuclear power opportunity with the safer, smaller plants and the cleaner processes. We're going to need every bit of energy that we can possibly create, as you very appropriately said. And we're not going to make it just by doing solar, at least not at once, maybe over the next 100 years, but not at once. And we need to be there at once. Secretary General of the United Nations says we have until 2030 before we reach the point of no return on heat.
Rod, if you've got a question, let's get to a question, please.
The point is, you didn't touch a whole lot on the new small nuclear plants.
Yeah, I just mentioned these small modular reaction
I think they're the savior.
Yeah. They're from 1 megawatt to 100 plus megawatts, and they're really, really amazing. I have slides, but I only had 15 minutes, so I cut those out.
We have happy hour tonight.
Oh,
We're going to make you the featured speaker. Yes. Tomorrow night. I always do that every week. Yes.
Yeah, actually, Rod, you asked the question I was going to, if you could do any elaboration on the smaller plants that's coming up. I know Bill Gates has invested $1 billion in this, really reinventing, reduction of the supply chain complexity coming into these plants, reducing just the number of moving parts, so it's a lot simpler to maintain and even build. So, but if you have slides, maybe that's a future conversation.
Yeah, I couldn't put them in here because of the way they work, but let me just tell you that it's like solar panels. We put our first solar system in at my office in 2003, and but since then it's become completely modularized, everything. And these are modular reactors they build at a factory and they ship out. So that's kind of the concept.
Fantastic.
Hey, can I tell you one quick story? Because I told you about the fuel mix. The fuel mix, I want to mention that. You saw the fuel mix. It's like 50% natural gas and coal here in California. So we were at Mary Ann's place in Gualala, California, which is near Mendocino, and there's arguably more hippies in that area than anywhere. They probably protested nuclear power. So we had a 2-day electric outage, a power outage, last winter. We were up there. And guess what happened? I had not been in a fuel line since 1979. But there was a fuel line at the gas stations for people filling up their generators, right? Their electric generators. And I want to make sure you all know, yeah, we want to all be green. Let's definitely be green. Those generators are the most emissions intensive, inefficient things in the world. The second we need power, the second. Quick, get my generator, because we're so dependent on it. And that's the other thing I want to make sure you all know. We need to have a good solid base and a diverse base. Sorry, next question.
Thank you. Let's go over to
Hey, Carl, Brad Barron. So this isn't a question, but it's more of a request. I would love to have you come back and talk about this more and seriously get into the new modular technology in nuclear, get into the different fuel sources they're using. Even maybe touch on, fusion as opposed to fission. I mean, energy is the most important thing we have in the world, and I would love to have you talk more about it.
Very nice.
My dad used to always say, Carl, give me electricity and give me water and I can live anywhere. And it's true.
Deanna.
Yeah, thank you, Carl. Couldn't agree more with Brad. Please come back and talk more. We're working with climate action at the district level. We just had a great conference with all the projects. If you were in charge, what would you say to us individual Rotarians on what we can do to move the needle most impactfully, individually and through Rotary?
Watch that Oliver Stone documentary. It's really good. And just don't be negative about nuclear. You don't have to be positive about it. Because I left in '78. I could spend another session on telling why I left in 1978, just before 3 Mile Island. But watch that. It's really interesting.
Borky.
I don't have a question, but
You have 3 minutes.
Ed Correa asked whether Carl glows at night, and I want to tell you, I've traveled with Carl a lot, and he glows at night.
Thank you for that colorful commentary. Ashley Hopkins Pass.
Quick question. Do you know when 3 Mile Island is supposed to be back online and running?
I bet it'll take years because there'll be so many lawsuits. Because there are a lot of people who are just going to do everything they can to stop it. Just like even with Diablo Canyon, they're still having trouble getting that extension. Because people don't know the numbers.
Go ahead, John Paul.
So, 1979, the reason that it went down, not 3 Mile Island, but it was public sentiment turned against the NRC. The president, the Congress turned against the NRC. And it was public sentiment in Congress that really swung the needle to really stop nuclear construction, which is why our numbers have shrunk. What you didn't show is what was our percentage of nuclear power as a country back in 1979, before 3 Mile Island. And it was, do you know?
I don't. Do you? I don't.
It was in the 30 to 40% of the nation's energy output. And some of those plants are still humming away.
You're
So
darn
my
right.
answer to your question would be
That was
go
Ashley.
to Congress, and it was Congress and public sentiment that killed it, and I believe that's what's going to take to bring it back to where it's more reasonable.
Great. All right, we're going to go to Noah. Noah Lerner, Senior Nuclear Reactor Operator. What's your question?
Hey, Carl.
That's not a joke. You're a licensed reactor operator. Is that correct?
Yeah, well, the license has since expired, but yes, I was.
I'd renew it if I were you.
Yeah. My question was because you've brought up our insatiable appetite for electricity, and I'm wondering if there are any regulations that are being put into place, or just anything on the horizon to combat really the lack of efficiency in our use of electricity, because that seems to be a very big issue. Is our distribution losses to get from the plants to the people, and just the way we approach electricity in general of oh yeah, we're gonna turn on the AC all the time. We're gonna build our buildings to not take advantage of natural wind currents to bring fresh air in, or with south-facing windows. It's a very new thing in architecture. We don't see that very often. I'm wondering if there's anything to, I guess my multiple question is, do you know of any regulations in place that are built to incentivize efficiency over increased power production?
30 seconds. Yes.
Got it.
Have you looked at your bill? Do you pay your electric bill? That's the biggest incentive, number one. Number two, there's ambiguity going on right now. So I put in heat pumps, right?
Yeah.
All my heating is done with electricity. Isn't that great?
That's awesome.
I never had air conditioning before. Because of climate change, we added air conditioning. I've lived in San Jose for 50 years. And we've never needed air conditioning until the last couple of years. So we put in heat pumps. So now, in the summertime, when I used to just have the windows open, we can't when it's above a 90-degree day, 95-degree day. So it's the kind of ambiguity that's going on that is really tough to work against. It's the reality we have.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Climate change is a real bummer.
Yeah.
And on that note, climate change is a real bummer, folks. Carl Salas. Stick around. Let's take a little photo. Of course, you get the walnuts, right? You get my Agner walnuts. And of course, a gift has been made in your name to the Dancing Cat Lounge. Thank you, Dancing Cat, for joining us today. and my slides aren't working, so I'm just going to let you know briefly during our final thoughts. We're going to bring you back, Carl. I'm making that presidential decree. We're going to bring you back. That was a lot of engagement, and you filled the room here quite nicely. Quick on final thoughts, we have a brief move with our event tomorrow, our social hour that we do with the San Jose Downtown Association, with the Chamber of Commerce, and of course us Rotarians. We were supposed to go bowling, but the social double booked us. So, but you're still drinking. You just can't bowl. So anyway, so they're going to meet tomorrow at the social from 4 till 6 for our monthly downtown happy hour. I've got a few slides here. It's not working, but check the bulletin this week. There's a few great things coming up with this district. There's a peace conference coming up in Santa Rosa. You can go there, or you can go to Turkey. I think this one's a little bit easier to get to, so no excuses if you think that's too far away. There's a peace conference coming with the district. We also have the International Women's event coming up in March, so check your bulletin for district level events that are happening. And there's so much going on. I'm not sure what happened to our gala banner, but our gala, as a reminder, is coming up at the end of March. I want to thank you again if you sponsor that. I want to thank you again if you're new in the room today and you're going to be sponsoring that. I see many of you in the room. Thank you in advance. We will find you, and it will be a glorious time. Thank you so much for clearing your calendars for Rotary, for joining us. Thank you, Sarju, for leading my tenacious cause for 500 by June. Have a wonderful, wonderful afternoon. We are adjourned.